certain sounds sound this way. And this is Native Instruments Massive version 1.5. I've explained enough already now about what these synths can do. I've explained some of the science and some of the programming behind it as well. I'm now going to explain a bit more in depth what actually produces the sound, what the single unit that initially starts the sound is. And these are oscillators. Oscillators produce the original sound which you can hear in your patches, which is then fed through the rest of the signal path in the synthesizer. Oscillation itself is the production of a certain type of waveform, which produces a different sound depending on the shape of the waveform. The waveform is constantly run depending on the speed/pitch of the note. So if an oscillator is set to a low enough pitch, you eventually hit gaps due to the slow speed of the oscillation. Common oscillator waveforms are saw wave, shaped like the teeth of a blade, which is almost like that. Imagine a shark's tooth. It's similar to that, but it goes across the whole spectrum on a downward spiral instead of being in the middle like a triangle. But yeah, a square wave looks perfectly like a square, and it produces a rather hollow sound. A lot of dance music uses it, especially the genre bassline and garage and house. They use a lot of square waves. Those sort of genres of music are generally quite popular using them. Another one is a pulse wave, which is a variation of a square wave. The pulse wave is half as wide as the square wave and has the unique ability to have its width modulated. This is generally called pulse width modulation. Another type of wave that you can get is a triangle wave, which is unsurprisingly shaped like a triangle. Yeah, which it's kind of in a name, triangle, it's all there. And this sounds somewhere between a saw wave and a sine wave. A sine wave has a smooth rising and falling shape. Kind of, if you can imagine, kind of does that. Like, it moves. It's quite flowy. And it looks like a horizontal S. This produces a mild soft tone. Then you have different types of noise. You have white noise, pink noise, brown noise, and in a general sense of speaking, it's not actually a wave sound, but it is the source of a sound produced by certain colours of noise. Here is a visual diagram of what some of these may look like. I got this from the website explainthatstuff.com. As you can see, the top one is a sine wave, the second one is a square, the third is a sawtooth wave, and the third is a triangle. How do areas pick up these sounds? Sound waves exist as variations of pressure in the medium, such as air. They are created by the vibration of an object, which causes the air surroundings to make it vibrate. The vibrating air then causes the human eardrum to vibrate, which the brain intercepts as sound. But how does this work? Here's an example of what this wave would look like. As you can see, the smaller the wave on the top left, and I'm not talking about in distance, but in length, the shorter the wave is the quieter, and the higher up the wave, it is the louder. And you'll notice they're both copies but exact opposites on each side. As you can see, this is a lower pitched tone because it's quite long, as explained in this one here. And when those sounds are higher pitched, they're generally closer together. On spectrum analyzers and stuff which you use with these synthesis, you can generally analyze this to see what it looks like. And the great thing about some of these digital synthesizers being able to create hybrid waveforms is you can see what they look like. But that's a little bit off subject because this is actually how the sound will travel through the air. This is just a screenshot. But as you can see, these bulkier sections are increased pressure, and these smaller sections are decreased pressure. And then obviously the wave with it moving is atmospheric pressure. And this, as you can see, where it moves, is how you generate propulsion of sound, and it moves in every direction. There's no escaping where it moves. And these oscillators and synthesizers basically manipulate these sound waves that work through the science of how we hear, which is really quite intelligent. Frequency modulation. We can add dynamics to sounds with simple tricks of using one oscillator to modulate the frequency of another. In a digital system, this can be done with elegance and control, using such things as MIDI keyboards and with faders and jog wheels. You can use them to manipulate automation, which change in these synthesizers. And these sounds are not incoherently natural in some sense. Some of them don't sound so traditional. They sound a lot more kind of electronic. You can tell that they sound produced instead of natural. But very few of these actually kind of represent anything that truly exists perfectly. But for each sound with a vibrancy and life of their own, the technique is unsurpassed. The Yamaha Corporation have a patent on FM, and have even through that patent has run out, other manufacturers are interested in purchasing, which is a little fact. I should have meant to have separated that from the rest of the presentation, but that is an interesting fact about Yamaha. Modelling, something I mentioned lightly earlier in the start of my presentation, and this is one of my last slides. And modelling is a new way of trying to make synthesizers sound much more human than actual kind of what do you call it? Like I mentioned earlier, like produced, like hybrid. They sound so much cooler. Which is, and yeah, this is a new type of like thing that's been added to synthesizers. The newest wrinkle in synthesis is physical modelling. In this scheme, the software is designed to recreate the actual behaviour of the instrument. For instance, to model a flute, you would design a subroutine that solves the equations describing the pressure variance at the blowhole. These equations would be based on, amongst other things, the breath pressure, the angle of inflow, the back pressure from the rest of the instrument. That result would become a factor in the second subroutine, which may solve the equation of the resonance of the head joint. The result of that is both passed on to subroutines involving the body of the flute and fed back on to the next iteration of the blowhole subroutine. Results of the body resonance calculator likewise affect the calculations for the head joint. In this way, the entire system is interlinked just like a real flute. To voice such a model, you specify the inflow angle and breath pressure and the open or closed state of all keys. Modelling is very demanding of processing time, so the instruments that are just coming to market are mostly monophonic to save processing time. Makes it a lot simpler instead of trying to also recreate the stereo sound of this instrument as well. These here are some websites where you can find some of these products that are currently being developed. That one there is Steinbase. This one here is Prime Plugins, which also has a lot of stuff, loads of different brands that you can buy these from. The next one here is Alchemy, Camel Audio, and they have produced many great synthesizers. The next one is the Complete Nine, Native Instruments. They also have some brilliant synthesizers in there as well. Yeah, that's my presentation. Thank you for listening.